What's up, everybody? Silver Stasher back with another video, and today I want to talk to you guys about 5 mistakes that I made as a beginner stacker and how you can save thousands of dollars because I spent thousands of dollars on junk. So I want to tell you guys what you can do differently to avoid that mistake. So let's go ahead and get into this video, and thanks for watching as always. Alrighty, so again, these mistakes did cost me thousands of dollars. I don't regret them because it was part of the learning curve for me when I began. But needless to say, it could have saved me some money and I'd probably have more silver and gold by now. I want to talk about this so you guys can avoid it when you guys start your journey, because I do think that there's a lot of new investors and new stackers on my channel. I get a lot of comments from people that say, oh, I'm new to this. Actually, that's the reason that this video came up in the first place, is because somebody commented and said, I'm new. Can you tell me what to avoid when I start stacking? So I thought that was a great idea. So if any of you guys do have any comments or any suggestions for videos, please do let me know, because I will take them into consideration. I'll probably make a video on it. So let's go ahead and get into it. The number one thing that I would avoid if I were starting my stacking journey over again would be simply buying gold and silver on Whatnot. Now that is not inherently because Whatnot itself is bad, but it's because it's promoting impulsive spending, and I end up buying a lot of things that don't really add to my stack, and they're actually not really more valuable than the face value itself. So for example, I have some things laid out right here. I bought all of these different things, like a 2002 uncirculated coin set, or United States Mint uncirculated coin set, 2 different mints, or these individual items. Now, the thing that makes Whatnot not a good platform to invest on is simply the sheer variety of opportunities that you have to buy a wide range of items. So it's really hard to calculate how much anything is actually worth, because all of the things that are for sale on the app are so difficult to understand. For example, here is a 1838 USA Coronet head cent. So when I saw this, it was a United States coin. I thought, wow, this is really cool. I got to buy it. But to be completely honest, I still, to this day, do not have any idea what this is worth. And as far as I'm concerned, if I remember correctly, I spent about $25 on this. So it's hard to say, but you just buy things that you don't really understand. And in my opinion, when you buy things that you don't understand, that causes you to end up spending more money than you wanted to spend. So that's just one example right there, but I have multiple examples. So another thing that I've noticed is on Whatnot, they put a lot of different items in these little sleeves. So these paper sleeves make every coin look more valuable than what it is. For example, it's a 1913. For example, this is a 1913 wheat penny. I probably bought a stack of 3 of these, 2 or 3 of these for $3 or so, which is way more money than what I would buy them for at a coin store. So you end up buying things that seem like good deals because, oh, it's $2 on Whatnot, and it doesn't really seem like a lot of money. But I will say, after spending hundreds to thousands of dollars on Whatnot, I've learned that you end up spending a lot of money on little things like this, and you end up accumulating so much that it just seems a little overwhelming. And here's another example, a 1962 proof nickel. Something like this is what I would have bought for, a couple of dollars, but this really isn't worth anything more than 5 cents. But on Whatnot, you can buy that all over the place. So it gets exciting and you get impulsive, because I didn't know how much that'd be worth. To me, a proof nickel is rare and unique. So I'm like, okay, I might as well spend a couple of dollars on it, right? Same thing with this proof bicentennial quarter. You can see that for pretty much all of this pile. This is all my Whatnot pile of things I've bought. So here's a 1981 proof bicentennial Kennedy. Is that worth anything more than 50 cents? Probably not, but I probably spent a couple bucks on it. So there's just a lot of opportunities to spend more money than what things are actually worth. And the other thing is it promotes a lot of investing in random coins that are not silver or gold, because the majority of the items that are sold on Whatnot are not silver or gold. And I was starting out investing in silver and gold, but you get excited when you see old nickels like these United States V nickels, which I know I would buy 3 of these for $6 or $7 at a time. So it ends up getting very expensive. And I end up stacking a lot of non-precious metals. And I am not a numismatic stacker. I think I've made some videos where I talk about that. I do love numismatics, but I'm kind of more of a semi-numismatic fan, like investing in something like Morgan dollars, for example, or 90% silver, something that has historic value and dates on it that are old, but it still gives me silver, so I'm still stacking my silver collection in general. Another example of where Whatnot has really got me is something like this. So this is a PCGS graded coin. It's a PCGS MS65 clad 1976D quarter. I think I spent like $20 on this. Now, I've looked this up. I think it's worth like $6. It's not worth hardly anything. It's literally just a quarter that has been graded as far as I'm concerned. I don't think that there's anything special about it, but other than the fact that it's a bicentennial. So it's really, there's a lot of opportunities to buy things that are kind of random. And when I first was buying these things, it was exciting to me and I was really looking forward to getting them. But once I started to collect a lot of them and stacks of random coins like this, I started to realize this was really cluttering up my stack. And when I go to pass down my precious metals, I want to be able to make it as easy as possible for the people that I pass it down to. So the last but not least reason I don't buy on Whatnot anymore is because another example, you buy other things other than silver and gold. I was spending like $4 on these little copper pieces, but if you guys don't know, these copper pieces go for like $1 online, and if you buy them in stores, which most of the precious metal shops don't even sell copper, at least from where I'm from, I was paying for 3x what this would actually cost me in person. So, all right, moving on. Before we move on to the next one, I do want to say Whatnot does give you a lot of opportunities to buy silver and gold at a good deal. All right, the number 2 mistake that I made when I was first getting into stacking was buying at one single coin shop. So one thing that I learned is that coin shops have a very different variety and they will charge a very different price. I made the mistake of only testing out one shop. So for a couple months, I was only buying at what I found out to be the most expensive shop around me. So I had a shop that would charge different prices for generic rounds depending on what was cool and what wasn't cool. It was simply the pieces that were generic, but if they were in good shape, they would charge $38 rather than $32, which is what it was trading for at that time. So I found certain shops would charge different prices, even if it was just a random generic round, whereas other shops that I have found have charged a certain price for generic rounds. Doesn't matter if it's an Engelhard bar or Sunshine Mint. It doesn't matter. They will charge a generic price for that, and it's usually cheaper than the other shop. So one thing I've learned is the closer you get to a big city, the shops tend to be more and more expensive. The further you can get away from a big city, the shops tend to be less expensive. At least that's what I've found in my past. Moving forward, I have learned my lesson that you have to shop around. You cannot just go to one shop and think that it's a one-stop shop. So I've definitely made that mistake by just shopping at one shop. But, you know, I only bought probably 20 ounces of silver at that one shop. So the truth of it is now I do not shop there at all anymore because I have found places that I actually like better because they just don't charge, they don't overcharge you. For when you're getting started, do not just shop at one shop. Call all of your stores and try to figure out what you can buy for the price at all these different stores. You'll probably get a handle at what is actually cheaper and what is more expensive around you. The third mistake that I made, and the first 10 ounces of silver I think I bought, was online. So the mistake I made was buying on eBay. eBay can be fine if you don't have any coin shops in your area, as long as you're buying from a large dealer like AppMex or SD Bullion. But if you're just buying from random sellers, it can be very tricky. And as far as I'm aware, there is a lot of scams on eBay that you can get yourself caught up in. So even something like Morgan silver dollars can be faked on eBay pretty easily. And if I wanted to go buy a fake, I could buy it right now. Also, aside from fakes, eBay does tend to be a lot more expensive than going to your local coin shop. So again, like I said, not everybody might have a local coin shop. And if you don't, then eBay might be a good option. But for someone like me who does have local coin shops in their area, I'm going to spend far less money going to those local shops than buying online like eBay. Now, the other thing is shopping somewhere like AppMex. I am an AppMex fan. I think that they got some cool stuff on there. But for just generic silver and gold, I'm probably never going to buy anything online there unless I'm looking for something particular that I cannot get at my local coin shop, because they do charge a higher premium and they have to deal with the shipping costs, and they usually do charge you for shipping unless you pay, buy something that's over $150, let's say. So again, you're just going to spend more money. And I was buying a lot of things on AppMex and eBay, but I've learned my lesson that I can find almost exactly what I want at my local coin shop, and I'd rather support someone local anyway. So that's just my personal opinion, but you will spend more money shopping online. Now, if that doesn't matter to you, then you can choose exactly what you want, and there is some value to be said with that. So again, if you're trying to stack the most silver for your dollar, I'm going to say go to your local coin shop. So the number 4 mistake that I made when I first started investing in gold and silver was simply buying numismatics. Now, what I mean by that is buying everything from stuff like this to stuff like this, which is a V nickel. So this is a little bit of an overlap with the whatnot point that I made as number 1, but this also has to do with more so with buying coins and numismatics at the coin shop. So when I go to the coin shop, I have spent a decent amount of money on things like foreign coins. I've bought a lot of buffalo head nickels. I bought a lot of wheat pennies. I bought a lot of random items that I'm not going to say I regret purchasing it, but it doesn't end up benefiting me for my long-term stack where I'm trying to retire and I'm trying to do this as a financial decision rather than a hobby. I guess it depends. If you're just looking for collecting these coins as a hobby and for fun, then you can't go wrong with collecting numismatics. I've transitioned from this as a hobby to actually this as a retirement account / passing down to my future family. Because of that, I am now not collecting the simply numismatic pieces, and I'm switching to purely semi-numismatics or just bullion pieces. That is my number 4 reason or 4 mistake I made when I started collecting silver and gold. My number 5 mistake that I made, and this was a really big one for me personally, was I simply didn't create a budget. So I went all in. I was putting all of my money I was making aside towards gold and silver, which was awesome. I was able to stack a lot for a short period of time, and it's definitely slowed down. But the problem with that was I simply stopped investing in other places. So I stopped buying stocks. I stopped saving money. And that became a problem because I believe in diversification. Now, don't get me wrong, I love gold and silver, but I also put a lot of money aside to the stock market because I believe in that too. And historically speaking, that probably will give me better returns than gold and silver. But needless to say, I still think it's worth buying gold and silver because it is a diversification piece. If I were to restart, I would stick to a budget and not go over that budget because when you first start into precious metals, you will get very excited. At least if you're anything like me, you'll get very excited. You'll start buying a lot. You'll spend every extra dollar you have to buy gold and silver. And it's a lot of fun, but it can kind of take a toll at your personal life, and you will learn that you are missing out on other things because you've been spending too much money on gold and silver. At least if you're anything like me, that's what will happen. So simply sticking to a budget will give you a little bit more freedom in purchasing precious metals because you won't spend all of your money. Because what I did is I had to spend all my money up front, and then I had to cut back for a couple months to save up the money that I already spent. And it kind of puts you behind. Whereas if you just stick to a budget, you can simply buy and dollar cost average consistently week after week after week. And that can actually serve you better in the long term, in my opinion. So those are the 5 big mistakes that I made when I first got started investing. I hope you guys don't make the same mistakes as I do, but this is not financial advice. This is just my opinion only and the mistakes that I made when I started investing. So if you guys have any mistakes that you made that you want to let other people know about in the comments below, please do. Also, I do want to announce the giveaway winner. So for Vinny4, who is a new stacker, I'll pop his comment up on this screen right here. If you guys could give him some love in the comments, congratulate him on starting stacking, but he is the giveaway winner for the 1/10 ounce of silver. Nothing too exciting. Hopefully I'll start making these a little bit bigger and get up to the 1 ounce rounds. But anyways, I hope it does help. It'll be free to you. Just go ahead and send me an email at silverstashers@gmail.com. Send me an email with a screenshot of your comment so I know it's you. But anyways, congrats on that. So we'll do another giveaway in this next video, hopefully. Thank you guys, as always, for watching. If you guys don't mind, please, please, please do comment, subscribe, like. You guys have been killing it with that, so I appreciate it. It takes 1 or 2 seconds for you. Even just a thumbs up, that helps me out and does make me feel a little bit better about my videos. So thank you guys very much, and I will see you guys on Friday for another video. So Silver Stasher, appreciate you as always. Out.